Moving to a new apartment usually means wrestling with one undeniable reality. Traditional couches are heavy, bulky, and physically exhausting to drag up multiple flights of stairs. In 1995, Swedish designer Jan Dranger approached IKEA founder Ingvar Kamprad with an elegant workaround. Dranger proposed an entire couch that could literally be stuffed into a backpack and simply inflated once you reached your living room. This chart illustrates the theoretical promise of the IKEA Air concept. Compared to a standard sofa, the inflatable version promised an 85% drop in resource consumption and a 90% reduction in transport volume, using a 100% recyclable material. On paper, this design met every requirement for a sustainable hit. It addressed major consumer pain points while simultaneously streamlining corporate logistics. When Dranger presented his prototypes at Komprad's summer house, the executives were captivated. They tested the lightweight furniture themselves and quickly fell in love with the logistical efficiency of the idea. They shook hands, signed the contracts, and bypassed long-term consumer testing. The experimental design was pushed directly into immediate mass production. This chart breaks down a classic waterfall development cycle. Management pushes a visionary concept linearly from the top down, straight from vision to production to market, completely skipping the slow, difficult phase of real-world user testing. By prioritizing those impressive sustainability metrics and their own boardroom enthusiasm over actual user tests, the leadership team sent a product to market that was destined to fail the moment it was inflated. Once the new couch, branded as the inner leg, actually reached those living rooms, buyers hit an immediate practical hurdle. They had to inflate a full-sized piece of furniture themselves. According to IKEA's official instructions, users were supposed to achieve this using a standard household hairdryer specifically set to the cold air setting, but naturally people often ignored the manual and used hot air to speed up the process. Heat causes those air molecules to expand rapidly, entirely filling the internal chamber to its maximum physical capacity, while the temperature remains high. As that air eventually cools down to room temperature, it contracts. Within a few days, a fully pumped-up sofa would shrink down into a wrinkled puddle on the floor, an issue made significantly worse by valves that continuously leaked air anyway. A sustainable design fails the moment its success relies on everyday consumers successfully defying the laws of thermodynamics in their own homes. Beyond the mechanical failure of keeping the couch inflated, the actual materials chosen created an entirely separate usability nightmare. Large synthetic plastic surfaces generate significant electrostatic charge. Because of this, the couches essentially acted as massive, unavoidable magnets for every speck of dust and pet hair in the room. Then there was the physical experience of sitting down. Human skin would stick violently to the plastic surface, and any slight movement generated loud, squeaky friction noises that echoed across the house. Even in the immaculate IKEA showrooms, the extreme lack of weight meant these couches were easily bumped, thrown around, and looking ridiculous, which completely destroyed any consumer perception of quality. Because the designers failed to stress test the physical reality of these materials, consumers ultimately viewed the sofa as little more than a collection of cheap, dusty plastic. By 1999, catastrophic return rates forced IKEA to officially terminate their collaboration with Dranger. Trying to salvage their sunken costs, the company pivoted the inflatable concept to a seemingly more forgiving demographic, relaunching the idea exclusively as children's furniture. While the smaller scale worked slightly better, it still fell far short of expectations, leading IKEA to abandon the inflatable furniture line entirely by 2013. A flawed physical mechanism cannot be saved simply by shrinking the target audience. This diagram shows the modern alternative, iterative design. In this model, physical prototypes are rigorously stress-tested by real users, and those failures inform the next build long before any corporate scaling happens. But as researchers at the Museum of Failure point out, attempting to cut resource consumption by 85% was a legitimately ambitious goal, one that justified taking a massive financial risk. The takeaway isn't that companies should stop taking bold swings for sustainability, but rather that theoretical perfection on a spreadsheet is always an illusion. Visionary ideas only prove their worth when they can survive the messy, dusty, and hot air-filled reality of a consumer's living room.